Welcome to another episode of Blockchain Basement. My name is TJ, and I'm going to be hanging out with your favorite cast of characters to hang out in the basement and talk crypto. We're gonna have a really good show today. We've got some more sad, depressing news, you could say, from SBF and FTX Genesis. We're gonna hit that. We're gonna talk about Genesis. We're gonna touch on lightly, the absolute worst case. Yeah, I do need bigger boobs to pull that bounce off. You're right. We talked about it right before the show. I'm working on it, guys. You can only do so much. I did chest yesterday, so
it's the bear market, dude. We'll wait for the bull market before we start.
That's right. Hot tub, that's just a preview for the hot tub stream coming bull market 2025 when we're all rich again. So
that's right.
Oh man, it looks so cool there. I love the Twitch on Twitch. We got Kirby going on. This is one of my favorite sets we have here in the building for sure. So yeah, real quick, you're gonna be talking about Sam Bankman-Fried's. Just side note for you guys, if you've never done anything for your parents, maybe you should learn to fraud investors out of billions of dollars so you can give your parents 19 properties for $121 million in the Bahamas. So yes, right now Sam Bankman-Fried's parents bought 19 properties worth over $121 million for the past 2 years. $1 billion in client funds are still missing. $70 million was traced to political campaigns. $300 million was cashed out by Sam himself. $121 million now to property. So if that doesn't get you excited about your losses, I don't know what will. So we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to move through the FTX stuff pretty fast. I'm not going to hit them all right now. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what we're going to get. We've got Satoshi himself is getting out here, giving people some Thanksgiving advice. If many of you don't know, Marty Bent, I'm sorry, not Satoshi. I'm thinking Adam Back. Still, Marty Bent, another one. TFTC, another good one to keep an eye on. Where was it? He was telling you exactly what to do on Thanksgiving. I'll pull that up in just a minute. And then some hopium about some stuff that the market's doing. We might be looking at the bottom, and then potentially a couple things to keep an eye on for those of you looking for altcoins in the bear market to watch in the future. Sui blockchain. I know a lot of you know a little bit about Aptos. Maybe what we could expect for next cycling, and then I guess I had one more non-depressing thing at the end. So back to the depressing stuff. FTX hacker, is it SBF? We think. Let me just go around the room real quick. Do you guys think the hacker who stole the $300 to $400 million of FTX the day it filed bankruptcy, over under? We'll start with Taco. Do you think that was Sam or somebody working under his direction?
Quick answer, I don't think it was Sam. I think it was someone under his direction.
So someone one layer removed, but working alongside him. He's not actually pushing the buttons themselves, but he's pushing somebody's buttons.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
All right. What do you think, Drew?
I think the exact same as Taco. And it's just interesting to see the lack of. I haven't seen any kind of major investigation into that hack. It's been just the hack happened, but maybe it was the SEC, maybe it was FTX. We don't know. It's been kind of a soft-sided, there's no conclusion or even a side of conclusion for who the hacker was. It just feels like it was a backdoor Sam had built for just this type of situation. So
yeah, it's clearly a backdoor. It's got to be somebody close, very high up access within the company to be able to even access this sort of things without multi-sig and all that sort of stuff. BJ on the board, what do you think? Sam or someone else?
I don't think it was Sam, solely because for how bad he is at League of Legends, it's obvious his APM is not high enough to pull this off in time.
Okay, fair. Allie, what do you think? Sam or someone close, or none of the above?
Yeah, I believe it was probably, under Sam's direction.
Yeah.
Chemistry Bro said Bahamas government asked him to hack it and get funds. If it's someone under him,
It's him, in my opinion. If he ordered it but didn't personally do it, it's still him. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I kind of think.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. It looks like, according to this story, and they have been searching, on-chain sleuths have been on top of this almost the entire time, and they've been kind of following the funds. So, we were talking about on this show the potential for basically the way to offload this and make your profit. If you can't just sell the stolen coins because everybody's watching them, you can use those coins to manipulate the market and then do buy and sells in a different place, and that's where you would have your profit. So obviously on-chain analysts have been watching all of this stuff, watching what the hacker's been doing and watching other wallets and exchange activity or DeFi exchange activity that might be related to it. And so it looks like they found a connection between FTX hacker and this 0xD275 wallet. So on-chain data researcher in recent tweet revealed, which let's look at that tweet. Yeah, we'll just do this
I
article.
know, like Zach XPT, he has like a whole spreadsheet of everything that's happened with the wallet, all the places every single like crypto has gone to.
Now
So
I
like,
lost my place.
yeah, crypto Twitter is on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Funny how we got to go to Twitter for the news more so than anything these days, isn't it?
Yeah, now I lost my whole thing. Give me just a second.
I thought it was really funny that was it CBS was like, we're not going to be on Twitter anymore for like one day.
One
and then
day,
they came
yeah.
back. I commented, I was like, yeah, of course you're going to stay here for the actual news, so you can try and regurgitate it and spin it into your own fashion.
The question,
Yeah, we're
I keep bugging Drew about this, but I was like, who's truly behind Hive?
I haven't gotten a chance to look into
We
it.
should just make up a conspiracy.
I got completely sidetracked
Yeah.
trying to figure out where all the political funds went, and it's a
Is
layered
that, you
onion.
talking about Hive blockchain or something else?
No, the social media everyone's trying to move to.
Mhm.
Oh, it's another social media thing called Hive?
Yeah. Not everyone, just those who are fleeing the nest of Twitter right now.
Because they're
Yeah.
too scared to take self-sovereignty and actually hit the block button.
Oof.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. Block
Mute,
people.
block, you can do it. Yeah.
You don't need
So
to ban people. Block them. Be grown up.
yeah, I agree. Yeah. If you don't like what they're saying, you don't want to see it. I mean, you can mute it, you can block it. There's a lot of things you can do. But in the tweet thread, he revealed the hacker was dumping ETH. So we knew this. We knew it was happening Sunday and yesterday. Let's see. Where does it make the connections? Moreover, Look On Chain in another tweet mentioned the suspicious address, 275 that had borrowed USDC from Aave and transferred it onto exchanges on November 21st, just 20 minutes after the FTX hacker dumped the 15,000 ETH for Ren BTC. There's some connections there as well, which I think are in here, but it shows 275 has gone to short the exchange gone to the exchange to short ETH in addition to the tweets on November 12th, 2 hours after that account stopped trading. FTX accounts were Drainer began stealing assets from FTX exchange and selling them. The FTX accounts Drainer stopped selling at 7:34. Half hour later, 0xD275 began trading. So you could see correlations to the time and the action. Notably, the series of tweets and revelations from Look On Chain and Noah all point to the fact that FTX hacker and 0xD275 are the same people. Surprisingly, crypto exchanges such as Bitfinex, Binance, Kraken, and Coinbase can provide answers to all your questions since 0xD275 withdrew the funds and deposited in these transactions. So they've got some more information about this stuff too. Worth notingly, in a recent turn of events, Binance pulled out of all. Yeah, we already covered all that stuff.
So is he doing this on chain or on a centralized exchange?
A little, it's some of both. They're doing a lot of this stuff on chain, a lot of it through Ren BTC, which is connected to FTX in the past, and they're using a lot of coins that FTX used to be familiar with. So a lot of it's on chain, but they're also, you can then see it, the funds get sent to a centralized exchange. Of course, that's where you lose tracking them for the most part. That's what they're saying. Coinbase, Bitfinex, Kraken, they could come in and fill in some of those gaps.
So yeah, like since all this information about this guy's wallet and where he's sending and everything, why don't they blacklist it?
That exactly. That's a great question. And without proof, though,
Yeah,
you can't really.
They have a lot of correlations so far. It's good to see that we have some type of timestamp correlating and kind of setting that address up for connection to it. But yeah, got to prove it.
Well, and exactly, you start just blacklisting addresses, on exchange without really good reason, without a court order or without any good reason, then, then you're fighting against the same thing you're trying to get away from, which is censorship, right? And you don't like if I'm running an exchange, yes, you don't want to jump to any conclusions. Like I'm pretty sure this is the guy that stole all the money. I'm just going to blacklist him and make sure we get it back. Like you need to know that you know that you know.
It seems like a lot of this could have been avoided if the regulators could have just, hey, these are all the wallets that FTX owns. We are turning them off pretty much, or taking control of them. And like the right people have control of it, not the Bohemian government who knows what they're doing it with it. Maybe they're colluding. I don't know. Yeah,
and that's the number one theory is that they, the Bohemian government is basically requiring Sam to do this so they can recover their funds. Which so that's another question. You think they're doing this to recover funds for the Bohemian government that were involved, or maybe major power players that are invested that are trying to get their money back, or is this all personal gain?
Probably a combination of both of the first two. I mean, I think that there's some power players and a little bit of interest for the government itself. But then it's also a bargaining chip as you're dealing with the fallout and the tug of war over who has jurisdiction over this situation. They have kind of a new bargaining chip by making that claim and just the location when it happened. But I don't think that it's going to last very long. I think that it's going to be mowed down by U.S. regulators that are going to come in, and it might get really interesting geopolitically on this because this is a court case that definitely crosses the line.
Exactly. No, that's the real issue. Is it's jurisdictionally gets hairy. I mean, you've got U.S. customers, you've got sovereign wealth funds from all over the world, you've got a Bahamian business. So yeah, it is definitely all over the place. Manowalk says, I say everyone who got ripped off, head on down to the Bahamas and I'll go stay there at the property, AKF, SBF's parents' place. Yeah, you never know. Some people might do that. So, Allie, are y'all going to be here on Friday?
Are we?
Yeah, we'll be here on Friday. Some of us will be, not everybody, but we will do a blockchain basement stream. Maybe we'll just hang out down here and eat some leftovers with you guys. Question for BJ.
Oh, I have a funnier comment first.
Go ahead.
So I wish the hack involved a lot of wrapped Ethereum, so we could call this Bohemian Wapsody.
Oh, that's not bad. There is some synthetic Ethereum involved.
So we can do it?
Yeah, go for it.
A question for BJ.
Yeah.
From the Nudie Trader.
New type trader.
Oh.
I like the way Allie said it.
Sorry, I'm terrible. I'm terrible at doing this too. That's years of me being horrible at it. I finally started to slowly get better.
You did great. Okay. Do you think Haskell is the best smart contract language, or is there another one that you believe is the best? Rust, Solidity, Pact.
Definitely not Solidity. That's proved itself. Pact, I genuinely don't know anything about. Rust seems actually super awesome, solely because of stuff I've discussed before, where most programming languages, the coder writes in a code, it goes through a compiler, and then moves to an assembly language. So it's almost like a Rosetta Stone of coding, versus Rust, what you write in is the assembly language, if I'm getting that correct. So that's awesome, but Haskell's proved to be very resilient, allow for scalability. This I'm talking out my ass a little bit here, but I believe there are ways to code in things like Python and other languages that are a lot more akin to a lot of coders, and then essentially have it translated over. But so far, it's seemed the strongest. Will something else come out? I don't know. But if there's going to be a contender, I'd put it as Rust.
Yeah, I'd throw Move into that conversation as well. Rust and Move tend to be the ones a lot of people, or for whatever reason, are talking about right now. But I hear Rust a lot.
Yeah, Rust seems strong. I still want to get those two Rust guys I talked to about who actually worked on, what was the game? Not Blocktopia. The Block Wars. The Big Block something.
Big Block Booties.
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Riddled with Puns asked, why is FTX filing for bankruptcy in the U.S. when they're located in the Bahamas? 3AC filed in the U.S. too, but they were overseas as well.
I want to say FTX has filed in both places.
They have, yeah.
Both
FTX,
US and
US.
the Bahamas. I'm not sure about Three Arrows Capital. It's a great question.
Yeah.
Do you know anything else about that, Drew?
Well, I know that FTX US and FTX separately filed their
I think it has to do with where your creditors are. So, like, if a lot of the people you owe money to are in the United States, you're going to have to file there to get debt relief under that jurisdiction.
Like, if your victims are in the U.S., the majority or a large enough portion,
right? Then
3AC was able to do so.
Now, but I'm not an attorney, so don't quote me on that. BJ's volume is always a little low in the basement, just FYI.
Do I sound tastier now?
Hey, TJ, what do you think happens to the alts if most become securities? Do you want to? I think a lot of them get decimated overnight, and DeFi and decentralization will become a lot harder. It'll be much more difficult to launch a project. You're going to require hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of legal and accounting and disclosures and compliance teams. So if it becomes the case in the future, I think it will dramatically slow down innovation and growth as it comes to crypto. I think that's FTX US. And
what do you think is going to happen to the liquidity pools? All of these alts that, if they are considered a security, maybe that's something to watch. Maybe
they'll get destroyed. I mean, we're already seeing liquidity pools getting wrecked all over the place from all these institutions falling. But if you see because what that would do is scare big money away. It would, and there's risk obviously in providing liquidity for these projects. So, big money, if they're going to take that risk, they're going to want to see some high reward. So now if the risk dramatically outweighs the reward because they could get a lawsuit against them, they could lose what they already have, then they're going to just pull that money back, which is part of what we're seeing a little bit in a microcosm with no, I don't think he's suicidal.
Definitely not. No.
He's more alive than
JDM
ever.
trading. Yeah.
They're also
I think
asking who's the hot new guy. You mean
It's
guy
obviously.
I was talking about this one.
See,
that's awesome.
dude, how'd
He's
you
a
zoom
new guy.
in?
He's not new. He's been on here a few times. That's that's you go by Taco Crypto.
Crypto Taco, Taco
0-1.
01.
3.14.
Underscore in the middle.
Alien Taco.
Alien Taco,
AKA Crypto Daddy.
of course.
Yeah, it'd be pretty brutal if altcoins got called a security in general. That's why I feel like the XRP case matters so much. I mean, it's a good project, yada yada, but there's a lot at stake right now with what's going on in the SEC and XRP. So that's why I've been so interested in that case. There's a lot that will be either brought up and able to innovate and move forward, and then there's a possibility that a lot of it could go away pretty quickly. So
they're gonna be unwinding this stuff for a while now. Which we're gonna move on because look at that. We're gonna be moving on a little bit, talking about a little bit more of the contagion, which is Genesis. It's probably the top story today. But let me hear from you guys in the chat. Let me know what is the most interesting thing to you in crypto right now, whether it's a project, bottom price, timing of the cycles. Like, what is it you're watching today in crypto? Obviously, this FTX stuff has taken a lot of our attention. This Genesis thing is pretty big here. And just for a little perspective on this timeline, I thought this was great post from Cred. He said, here's the Genesis timeline. November 8th, no material on the contagion to FTX. So no material net credit exposure to FTX and Alameda. November 9th. All right, we lost $7 million. November 10th. Okay, so we have 175 million locked in FTX. November 16th. Sorry, no withdrawals or new loans. November 17th. All right, we need $1 billion. November 21st, we're about to go bankrupt if we don't get new money like tomorrow.
I actually responded to this tweet.
Oh yeah, you're down here somewhere.
Somewhere I was like, and then the next day it's, all right, guys, we don't need 1 billion. We'll take half a bill.
Yeah, half a bill. We're good with half a bill. This was basically the rundown of this past couple weeks. Everybody trying to come out, and other ones as well, claiming no direct exposure to FTX and Alameda, but then Genesis obviously had a lot of exposure. Basically came out, I think I was reading last night, they said over the last 3 months, right before the FTX went bankrupt, they sent them over $1 billion in exchange for just FTT.
Yep.
They were giving loans and letting Alameda use FTT as collateral north of $1 billion, and now they have basically worthless assets. So that's where that hole came from very quickly. And, it's an immediate need. They have $1 billion that they've lent out that they're just never going to get anything back for. And they're trying to cover that gap now, which obviously, it's what affects Earn. It affects, and this is, kind of what Gemini had to say. They're caught up in this because it affects their Earn customers, because that's who, Genesis Global Capital was handling all that stuff. So they had to come out and make a statement that basically they're working with its parent company, Digital Currency Group, to find a solution for this thing. This remains their highest priority. Remain committed to exploring every possible option. Greatly appreciate Earn users. All in all, customer funds held on the exchange and in Gemini custody are held 1-to-1 and available for withdrawal at any time. You can read more here. So this is very important. The custodied funds are on there. That being said, I still would self-custody your assets, even on Gemini. We use Gemini a lot. I have a lot of confidence in Gemini. That being said, self-custody as much as you possibly can. That's just the best advice I can give you. So the contagion does not seem to stop. And we talked a little bit yesterday with the kind of the worst case scenario where this is the sub $10,000 Bitcoin. Basically, the connection between Genesis and DCG is Grayscale, and they're going to have to. There's a chance they might have to unwind Grayscale, which holds over $630,000 worth of Bitcoin, and more or less have to dump it on the market. Now, they're going to be able to sell it at a 40-50% discount and dump it at the market for full price. So it's a cash windfall for Digital Currency Group, but it would just mean offloading an insane amount of Bitcoin that would crash the price. So, but if that doesn't happen, or even if it does, that could be what leads us to this contagion right here, which is a run on Silvergate. All of these companies need cash to cover the difference of buys and sells and where they're holding assets at and covering the holes on their balance sheet. And if everybody starts coming to Silvergate at the same time, we're going to have major issues. So we already know Gemini's, in contact with them. FTX, boom, they just got wiped out and left a huge hole here. Whether they're coming out and talking about it or not, this was one of their big clients that was paying them a lot of money, and it's gone.
Can we talk about some irony, how that looks like a cross-section of a coronal microorganism, if we will? I'm being subtle.
Very subtle.
Yeah, there's some irony for you.
Very subtle.
Talking about contagion, it's kind of funny.
It is funny. Yeah, okay, when you make that connection, it makes more sense. I was like, what's
Yeah.
the connection? The contagion.
Big brain.
Got it. No one is talking. This is three doc. No one is talking about smart contracts on Bitcoin because of ICP, Bitcoin integration. The ICP is cryptographically integrated with the Bitcoin network. The Canister smart contracts it hosts can create Bitcoin addresses and send and receive Bitcoin directly on the Bitcoin ledger. But do the Bitcoin maximalists consider it part of the Bitcoin network or not? Is it like another layer? I
mean, I'm a pretty toxic Bitcoin maximalist, and there's room in my heart for this little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I saw a use case in ICP when it came out. Obviously the dump didn't make me feel great. I didn't get too far into it, thank God. But yeah, like seeing it batter down at its lows right now, I feel like proof of work's not going to go away as much as everyone wants it to. Yeah, and I've been digging into ICP personally.
So ICP allows for smart contracts on Bitcoin?
Yeah, well, it's like a.
Or is it smart contract? Is it another layer like ICP would be a smart contract layer on Bitcoin?
Yeah, it just gives the ability for smart contracts to be kind of created parallel to it. And that's like how it was explained to me. I just felt like Bitcoin wasn't going to let smart contracts go to the wayside in the long term. I know that there's a lot of innovative projects, but I do have a lot of belief in the original proof of work model. So ICP was a really exciting, altcoin for me to see. I'm still probably going to be looking into it for the next few years while we're in accumulation range. So
are you this excited?
And it's actual like real native Bitcoin, not wrapped or anything.
Yeah, I believe it's just native Bitcoin that it works around. So yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, and it's I can't speak too much for it. I mean, obviously there's all the hubbub about potential issues they've had with the he who has been named a billion times SBF. So
yeah, I'd be interested to native BTC, no bridges needed. That is intriguing. That would be interesting to learn a little bit more about.
Right now, like on Ethereum, you have to wrap your Bitcoin in order to send it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not really. I mean, it's Bitcoin, it represents it, but
it's synthetic, and that's what I was saying. Is it really truly Bitcoin, and is it really not on it? Because there's the hard line Bitcoiners would even argue that Lightning is a side, is a side chain. It's not actually the Bitcoin network; it's another layer on the Bitcoin network. So I want to know if this would be considered a second layer or exactly how that would work.
And
it's got to be another layer.
I was watching their community even through the downturn and on their way sliding down that steep hill from however much it was listed. Like I saw some exchanges had it for like $500 or whatever, but
Quantum Crypto 8 or 9, I can't tell. Yes, first time in the basement. Been watching BitBoy live stream for over a year every day. Welcome to the basement. This is where we have the more chill chats. You're not going to get any rants or anything crazy here. Just talking crypto, chilling with your friends. We get a variety of different people through here. So I'm going to try to move us through these stories a little bit right now just to keep us on time.
We will get some rants.
I have,
we
I have a question from the graph you just showed with Silvergate.
Yep.
Crypto Thorn asked, if Silvergate falls, do all of these, the rest of them fall too? So Coinbase could fall.
Yes. If Silvergate falls, because the way it works, Silvergate is what's handling the payment, the dollar, the actual fiat payment rails. That's all done by Silvergate. So right now, if you go buy on Coinbase, basically, they're going to take your dollars. They've got some crypto, and they're going to facilitate that swap and give you a little bit of crypto. And then they've got to take those dollars and put them somewhere. And Silvergate is the one that handles the dollars going back and forth. If you withdraw to your bank account from Coinbase, Silvergate is the one handling that withdrawal. So if Silvergate goes down and there's no dollar withdrawals on all the major exchanges, yes, it would be about as bad. It would be as bad as Mt. Gox going down. And basically, 90% of the value out there wouldn't have been able to be withdrawn. So
Silvergate, do they do the same for like MoonPay or Trust Wallet? Because that's actually potentially relevant because a lot of people
Yeah,
like those
maybe
around.
MoonPay would
yeah, I don't know if MoonPay wasn't on that list, but that's where you have to start digging into the corporate structures and finding out, is MoonPay actually owned by Paxos or one of those other, Circle or one of those other conglomerates. So but yeah, I mean, it's very notable. Now, I don't think it's going to get that bad, but that's why there's a lot of fear out there right now. And that's what I'm going to touch on here. The crypto firm. So I just mentioned Genesis had lent $1 billion to FTT. They'd also lent $2.36 billion to another bankrupt hedge fund, Three Arrows Capital.
I saw this morning. I went, ew, when I saw
I didn't even read the story. The headline's just enough just to know basically in the last 90 days, they made at least $3.5 billion worth of bad loans that they're just never going to get back. And, no wonder they need a little help on their balance sheet. So, but here's where we're going to start getting into a little hope here.
I love this guy.
Yeah, I'm a big Don Alt fan too. You guys have noticed I've covered him. He actually, we'll look a little bit more. He did some buying, which always gets my attention. So he said, the situation is dire. Bad news after bad news, onslaught of FUD, companies going bankrupt left and right, and the price goes down 3%. Now, this is last night. So when we were sitting in probably mid 15s, 15.5. Then he he looks like an absolute genius. He just nailed it on his tweets this morning. So let's see, 5 hours. Oh, that's
he
the
just
I'm a
says
genius.
it. I am a genius.
Well, it's because it's a little tongue in cheek. So I've been following him for a while. And so this morning he said, finished buying today. Bought a bunch of BTC for the long-term hold. Bought a bunch of Litecoin to trade with. Bought a little XRP for the meme. Now we just wait. So now he's been on market. I think we covered it on this show saying last time he long held invested was around $1,000. He also pretty much sold the top and has just been chilling for the last meantime, which is I think pretty funny. There was somewhere else where somebody said he's not worried at all. And then he came out yesterday and said, what if this is the macro bottom? And that's like, oh, that really got me. Watching, and this is saying, watching some of these alts move, LTC and XRP just chugging upwards. Oh, yeah, this is it. 0% worried, by the way. Not sure if that's a good sign or a bad sign. And then Kreb goes, yeah, you sold a 60K and knocked up a supermodel. Like, no kidding, you're not worried, which he's got a kid on the way. So congratulations to Crypto Don Alt. But when you're looking at these big, I noticed Kobe was talking about getting back involved. We're seeing a lot. Kathy Woods just bought a lot of Coinbase and GBTC at the bottom. So we're starting to see a lot of the macro people saying, you know what, this is feeling bottomish, close enough to the bottom to me to go ahead and make a move. And then we obviously, so right after he did that, right, probably 10 minutes after he came out and tweeted that he was done buying was when we got that huge pump. And that's why he came out and said he was a genius. So he's like, I'm done buying. And then boom, it looked like we got a short squeeze and we got some of those shorts liquidated. And, here, looks good. What if that was the bottom? I don't know.
You know who hasn't bought that I'm surprised? Michael Saylor.
Yeah.
But he's been buying at a...
He bought at like 17 or 18 though.
Yeah.
He did a chunk at 17 or 18.
He bought a lot of his way up at the top, and then he was trying to catch the knife on the way down. I think at this point he knows he needs to keep any dry powder he has available, any phone calls if he's got people willing to buy, he needs to keep all that dry powder on the sideline in case he needs to do a raise to lower his liquidation point, because he can lower it as low as, I think $3,000, but right now he'd have to get more money in there to do that. So
can he sell MicroStrategy? Get more Bitcoin?
No, he couldn't do that directly. I think that'd be considered
Didn't he
market
step
manipulation.
down to a degree? Just
He
under?
stepped up, stepped down, stepped over.
Yeah.
He's chairman now of
Yeah.
MicroStrategy rather than CEO. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Like
I
the
think
crypto
that's
Macarena.
yeah. He just slid over.
Hot
But
potato.
so, and let me ask. So this is Marty Bent's advice here. He said this is the Thanksgiving you forcibly take your family members' phones, download Cash App or River, and market buy to hold the floor. Thank me later. So there's many Thanksgivings where you're talking about Bitcoin with your family. This one, they're going to have a lot of questions. I think this is very high quality advice, and they will thank you later as well. Do you guys think this is good advice or bad advice when it comes to Thanksgiving and dealing with family members just forcibly taking their phone and making them buy Bitcoin?
So I haven't seen my family in about 11 months now, so I'm going up to visit.
Nice.
And I'm going to be telling them about my experience here at Hit Network. And I'm going to tell them this is a pretty good opportunity, a good time in the markets to start, scaling in. And then like my mom, my dad, they don't own Bitcoin. They don't really know much about crypto, but they are interested. So I'm going to definitely encourage them to pick up at least a little bit.
Mm.
What about you, Drew?
I kept my mouth shut last Thanksgiving. Absolutely. I did not
That's
tell
smart.
anyone to buy anything.
You don't tell. PSA: do not make your family members buy Bitcoin in a bull market.
Yeah, please do not.
Now is good. Maybe you could get away with next year.
No.
Don't do it in Thanksgiving 2025. Don't do it.
Yeah. But
They're gonna hate you.
in the thick of the flu season, though, I was very serious about it. Early in mid 2020, I was not taking no for an answer. My dad compared it to the tulips comparison. And I got him holding, I got him looking into XRP, and then he pulled the trigger and moved into XRP in a big way. And I was at 15, 16 cents. He's doing great. He's still waiting on his flare drop, though.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, he's happy.
Big
So,
crypto hand said he's not allowed at Thanksgiving this year. His wife kicked him out and he's living in his car. Sorry to hear that, man,
Aw.
but at least you got big hands. Could be worse.
that's true.
You sell the car and buy the bottom.
Yeah. I remember seeing that it was reported sailors trying to sell 500 million worth of MicroStrategy stock, newly issued stock for buying Bitcoin. Interesting.
That sounds like
That's
something he
what
would do.
I heard that. I read that somewhere.
I feel like, but I feel like maybe this is when I heard the stories about people saying that he shouldn't be able to do that. Like, what? Yeah, he did do that. You're right. I mean, he did. He basically turned MicroStrategy into basically a Bitcoin trust. I mean, that's basically what MicroStrategy is at this point, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know. That's an interesting.
Bud Lightyear. I am from Connecticut.
I want to say after a
Northeast.
week of watching the basement, I finally ordered a ledger. Good job, Crypto Perp. I hope,
Yes.
you
Well,
did
where
it from
did
the
you order it from?
manufacturer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, too, by the way.
LTC, is that Litecoin?
LTC is Litecoin.
Riddled with Puns said, I missed that part of the blockchain backer interview this morning. Why is everyone bullish on Litecoin all of a sudden?
There's a handful of different things. Saylor came out and made a statement basically saying he thinks Litecoin is going to be classified as a commodity.
Don't say it a third time or Tom Crown will show up.
Yeah, Tom Crown, he was in the chat the
Spawn.
entire time. So yeah, Litecoin apparently was it hadn't made lower lows. It was doing, looking good on a technical level on the charts. People have been talking about that for the last couple weeks now. Both Tom's been a big proponent of it, as well as the account we were just looking at, Crypto Don Alt, just saying it looks good. And Litecoin generally one of the as far as time goes, one of the longest lasting, best performing altcoins, if that makes sense. Like it's had good returns, more bull runs than a lot of the other ones that might pump and disappear. So Litecoin, really well known when it comes to name and brand recognition, really well known when it comes to institutional players and big money getting involved. And it feels like it's positioned very well to be considered a commodity when this regulation comes down, which opens up big bags for the most part. So,
And on that point, a lot of people, and this is kind of like a chart and TA thing, they just do like the pair, like Litecoin to USD, but they're getting a lot of this information comparing it to actual Bitcoin.
correct.
So if you see the Bitcoin Litecoin chart, that's where they're kind of getting that it's poised for a bounce.
Well, you're holding your Bitcoin value better in Litecoin than you would have been in
I
Bitcoin.
told you to stop saying it. You did this.
Hey, Breezy, finally caught the live stream on here today. Nice, awesome. Thank you for joining us and chatting with us. TJ, between Naomi and I, we have convinced my mom to scale into crypto. Good job, big crypto hands. Awesome. So you must be somebody that knows my mom. That's great.
I mean,
now I'm really curious who you are.
I think the
Or now you
best,
just doxed your mom.
Well, yeah, my mom's name is Naomi. You guys probably know that.
like when you say, when I'm in front of my family during Thanksgiving, though, what comes to mind is just having them look at the results of inflation on their regular dollar first before ever bringing up the crypto options or other options. Like really just having them understand what their money did for them 20 years ago to what it's doing for them now. Let them think about that objectively for a little bit, and they'll be much more open to it when they come back to you. So kind of my motif I've been.
How do you? Let me ask you this: how do you help people in a brief time span? How do you help people wrap their head around the inflation issue?
Well, it depends on their age. My father's about 55, 60 in that range. And I just asked him, how much did they tell you needed to save to be able to retire comfortably in the 1990s? And he had, I think they told him like 750K. The number has now changed to 2.5 million. And that hits in a different way when you think about that expansion of need for people who they felt like they've done it. They've done their work. They were able to retire from a company, and now the times have changed. So you got to start thinking and coming up with new ways to be able to live comfortably. I think that's the best way, is just to look at the baseline model of what is your option A of fiat dollars and what that's going to look like. Because that number is continuously going north, and we just seem to miss that and just deal with it as it goes. So
purchasing power of the dollar is going down.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of my favorite facts, quotes, lines, whatever, memes, dunks on anybody that's kind of harping on the volatility of Bitcoin. The dollar's down. The dollar's lost 99% of its buying power since its creation. So, let that fact sit with you and just think about how long do you want to hold the dollar. So if you could look, there was a question from Crypto Thorn a little higher up in the chat I want to answer. If you could pull that up, I'm going to go over some graphs and we can grab it, talking about, he wanted a little hopium for, how high the price could be potentially at the next bull market. So we're going to look at a few graphs real quick that I think are pretty bullish. Get doinked. And this is one that we've looked at a little bit briefly on the morning stream today, that Bitcoin's market value to realized value has fallen below 0.6 only twice in the past decade. Once, January 2015 and December 2018. Yesterday was number 3. So this is an indicator that is used for marking tops and bottoms, obviously. So 2015, 2018 respectively, clearly very bottom of the bear market. So that would probably be right here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys see that? Mm-hmm. Yes. Right here. And let's see if I can. 2018. This is that trough we're in right here, where, we went sideways and then up. And now this is what we were looking at a little bit with blockchain backer again today, how very similar, if you take this shape and overlay it from this, this run up here was a little bit different that we experienced, but this whole section is really starting to look a lot like this whole section, and then this last leg down, and then we should get a little relief and trough sideways before we start going back up. So the fact that this has only hit those levels 3 different times, and generally speaking, those have been 3 of the greatest potential times to buy Bitcoin, it's just notable. It's something you should keep an eye on. Here's another one. This one I thought was really interesting. And for those of you who haven't seen a chart like this, these are the different cycles. And I really like the way they broke it down into different epochs, because that's an easy way to think about it. So this is and an epoch is basically the halving cycle for those of you, so like epoch 1 was basically 2008/2009 through 2012. It didn't, hit the full 4 years. And then 2012 to 2016, 2016, 2020, 2020 to 2024. These are these different lines here. So you can see, and this also makes it very easy to see diminishing returns, right? So like here's the very first one, where the very first halving obviously had the most dramatic run up, drawdown, relief rally, sideways, and then it had a little bit of a pump up, and then, that was the end of the first one. The second one looks like red, which would be this one right here. Again, very dramatic, very clear upward trend. This is the double top. This was this, where we had a double top theory, which that's what we thought we might be shaping up to look like a little bit in this one here, even though, so you'll see this ran all the way up, dropped all the way down a little sideways, and then pumped all the way up to a new all-time high kind of in the middle of the cycle before just slowly fading down. And then let's see, number 3 is this orange one here. This is the 2016 through 2020 that we experienced. Big pump up, sideways, 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 Here's that drop in 2018, accumulation zone, so here's generally the value zone for all of these. We didn't really get it on the first one because it was so new, but generally speaking, you see that dramatic drop there, dramatic drop here, dramatic drop here. We are in that very clear accumulation, and you see you've got some time. Don't freak out. Don't FOMO. You got some time in here. You had time in here to accumulate. You're going to have probably another. Let's see what's along the bottom there. Yeah, you're going to have, this is days, by the way.
So
Bitcoin
120
days. Yeah, Bitcoin days from having. So you'll have another, half a year to accumulate within here before, boom, we start moving back up into 2024 and 2025. So I just thought this was really cool graph to look at and get the time range. Like, it's very easy to see diminishing returns too, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I tend to think because this one got so truncated, we're going to see higher, we're not going to see diminishing returns. I think the next cycle will probably look closer to this orange one. But we'll have to wait and see. So that being said, assuming we stay on this time range, accumulation zone, start moving back up into 2024, basically assuming we follow the 4-year cycles, what do you think market cap, or you could just do Bitcoin price if you want, like total crypto market cap or price of Bitcoin when we reach the peak euphoria of the next cycle?
I'm targeting 175
175
for
Bitcoin.
a Bitcoin. Yeah, I think it's so interesting how those drops in the value zone are like stagnated at equal distance almost. It looks like,
Right.
like the red
Here,
one is at the front.
Here,
Yeah,
here.
and they're I'd almost expect the next epoch to essentially be at the back end of that value zone. But yeah, I'm looking at like 150 to 175. I'm going to start scaling out once I see about like 130, 140.
What
Then
about
I'll
you,
start.
Taco? Do you have any price predictions or top numbers for Bitcoin next cycle?
I think I'm going to be the outlier in the room. I'm just going to say this because I love crypto
go.
face. 69K was the top forever.
Oh, the forever top.
The forever
Hot take.
top.
Did he say that?
He did say that.
Hot take.
He has said he does. He thinks that it's not ever. Now I don't know. He might have changed his opinion since he said that. That was a while ago. But yeah, the forever top. So.
But if I'm
Get
not a
this guy
fan
out
of crypto face, I'm gonna go like maybe 125, 150, and then a total market cap. I'm gonna say between 6 trillion and 9 trillion.
Yeah, I mean, big crypto hands said 5 trillion market cap, 99K eternal ceiling for. Yeah, let me see what is. So Bitcoin at, let's see, it's at 300 billion right now. The whole market. I think we could hit. Did you say 5 to 7 trillion market cap?
6 to 9. I said 6.
6
Nice.
to 9. 6 to
See what I did
9K.
Had to.
All right, 800 billion.
Let's see.
I'm just trying to think. You got tech stocks getting crushed. You're gonna have to see some move. Money's got to come from somewhere. I will say, yeah, I think we could see Bitcoin pushing 200K.
Yeah.
So I would say 200K Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then overall cap, $8 trillion.
Ooh. I like your call about a potential for better gains this time too. I mean, I do feel like that's a situation just because nation states, I feel like, are going to be getting more involved at the end of it. 2024, 2025. That's just my personal theory that I've been going on.
Do you have a pick for top price?
Yeah, 100.
100K?
Mm.
BJ?
170 or 117 because Cardano is going to be at around $17 with a $2 trillion market cap.
Okay, so Cardano pulling in 2 trillion alone, market cap wise, Bitcoin sitting at 117K, which a little over $1 trillion market cap would be, right? Yeah, 100K is roughly, no, 70K was around $1 trillion, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We were
I
right
got a
at-
question
yes.
for you guys.
Okay.
So Bitcoin's the highest market cap it got to was like 1 trillion, right?
Roughly, yeah,
Just
a little bit
so-
over.
So, and then the remaining crypto market, I think it was around 2 trillion. So it was like 3 trillion was the top.
Mhm.
Do you guys feel that Bitcoin will outperform, or do you feel like the alt markets are going to out exceed Bitcoin?
When it comes to like returns or like total, like
So-
if you're, or is it all
Or their
alts,
market cap.
Yeah,
the market cap of all alts versus just Bitcoin?
Correct. Yeah. Since it was like a 1 to 2 or a 1 to 3 for Bitcoin and it was a 2 to 3 for alts.
Mm.
Do you think it's going to be similar? Do you think Bitcoin's going to be higher? Do you think altcoins are going to be higher? Do you think that trend could keep going?
I mean, if everyone looks at that chart we just saw and expects to have diminishing returns, it's possible that people move into alts because they're like, I can only ever so much act with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a feasibility. Based off of that chart, I would think a lot of people would look at that and do that.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a common sentiment that you see in the market, that people feel like they've missed, like what BJ was just saying, we missed my big returns, I'm going to try on alts. It's also another thing that comes up a lot is, I just lost my train of thought. Alts price.
Well, I have a question.
Hold on, I'm gonna find it. What was BJ was saying? Oh,
People
your
saying-
question. Oh, basically, we're talking Bitcoin dominance, and
Yeah.
that's the other thing I was going to say is we haven't traditionally at this point in the bear market, the Bitcoin dominance should be much higher than it is right now, and this is what we're learning with stables being in the middle of this market. That generally people would have, when rushing to Bitcoin, now they're rushing to stables to try to maintain their capital in the bear market, and so that's the other big outlier. So if you remove stables from alt market, you know it's a big. It's questionable, but yeah, no, I don't see Bitcoin holding the same dominance that it has traditionally, unfortunately. I wish it would. But no, I think the next bull market, we will see even less Bitcoin dominance.
I'm feeling like it'll be like a 1 to 3 ratio. Like Bitcoin will have 25%, and altcoins will make up 75%.
You don't
Of
think
the
we're ever going to
market.
go above 50% Bitcoin dominance again?
I don't think so. No. I don't think so. And I'm huge on Bitcoin and everything, but there's going to be a lot of advancements that are in the altcoin sector that are going to be more easily used by larger companies for the.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I
Energy.
think Bitcoin will be the strong. I mean, it'll be like gold, and I compare it a lot to gold and the stock market, for example. Once they figure all this stuff out, like gold, the many people would argue the only thing that has any value is gold, and all these securities and everything on the stock market is just fake Fugazi paper money that none of it really matters. The only thing that matters is gold and lead. Which that's a very strong theory. I don't have any arguments with it, but it's very similar when you're talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the number one store of value, wealth transfer, and securing of energy and funds. It's the best thing for that use case, and we know traditionally that use case has about a $10 trillion market cap if you look at gold. So that's, if you want to put a ceiling on Bitcoin, you could say roughly $10 trillion of true real value theoretically could be what the Bitcoin market cap is. Now, obviously, if they continue to print dollars forever and ever and ever, those market caps can just continue to inflate. So that's the problem when you're talking about the underlying value of all these currencies when they're changing all the time, but you're trying to relate them all to each other, which is why Drew was pointing out, or Taco, that it's important to look at, like if you're looking at pairings, the Bitcoin Litecoin pairing matters. Probably more than the Litecoin USD pairing matters, because if you traded your Bitcoin for Litecoin, there he is. Then if you traded your Bitcoin for
times,
if you traded your Bitcoin for Litecoin and then but that's still losing you, it's going up in USD value but down in BTC value, it's still a bad trade. And so I know Frank and I were talking about that, and that was a big epiphany for him, was like, don't track your portfolio in dollar value, track it in BTC, or if you're really trying to accumulate ETH value, because making sure you're growing your BTC stack and your Ethereum stack is important. You might be thinking you're trading great and because your USD value is going up, but you're actually losing Bitcoin in fees and trades and blah, blah, blah. But had you just stayed there and done nothing, you would have done better than trading back and forth. So it's important to keep an eye on the pairs and the way they all relate to each other. Sorry for joining late to the work call yesterday. Nick mentioned something called DeSantis. What is that? I don't know. It might be a political thing, Mac Dad, but welcome to it. We think that's probably going to be the Republican candidate.
I
Here's a
think
really weird question. So we talk about inflation and that affecting Bitcoin price. Let's say we'll call it the negative inflation of energy costs. And let's say Bitcoin, some weird technology comes out by next year that it costs $2,000 to mint a Bitcoin. Do you think that would significantly affect the market in a negative way?
Yes.
Sweet. I agree.
I mean, I think, but I think it generally tends to find an equilibrium where the cost of energy is going up and they're making it more and more difficult to get cheap energy. So people are having to innovate and get more and more and more efficient. So that's where really Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining is incentivizing very pro energy efficient uses and discovery and research. So it generally tends to find an equilibrium where they are going to continue, I feel like, to restrict energy around the world, which pushes the price up because it makes the cost greater to produce a Bitcoin, which pushes the whole market up. But then you're always, the miners are always going to be innovating to bring that price down. So it's kind of a natural tension between the people that control the energy and how you're trying to use it, which could be very similar to the way people look at gold and gold mining, and what it costs to get the gold out of the ground is a lot of what sets the price. Yes, there can be some influences on some of those things, but at the end of the day, it's pretty well set of like, hey, you're going to have to blast this, and it's going to cost dollars and money and resources to get this gold out of the ground, just like it's going to cost dollar and money and resources to get this Bitcoin out of the chain, so to speak.
Somebody put it a hilarious way. Everything is proof of work.
Yes, it is. I mean, that's a great, really theory rabbit hole to go down, because it is.
It was work.
Yeah, it was work. You had to pick it up. You had to create something. You had to produce something. Somebody had to buy something in exchange. Something. Any transaction that happens realistically represents an exchange of energy. And when you start thinking of this is getting a little like philosophical and heady, but it is. I mean, that's really what it is. And a lot of your savings account, any resources you have stored up, whether it's gold bars, dollars, yen, pounds, silver, bullets, whatever it is, that's a store of energy that you've set aside. It's something you accumulated through your work on this earth that you're storing for a use in the future. A lot of people look at Bitcoin as one of the most efficient ways to store energy, to implement, to invest that capital in the future. So
absolutely.
Again, now we're going on a side trail there, but
Welcome to the basement.
Yeah, welcome to the basement. I mean, that's really is what it is. Bitcoin is energy. I mean, we are all energy, right? Just what is energy? Just ask Jordan Peterson.
The universe,
Time and energy spent.
Wishcaps98 said, "Do you think the next bull run will be solely triggered by the Bitcoin halving?"
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Solely triggered by the Bitcoin halving, the Bitcoin will be the number one catalyst, I would say. I mean, yes, the technology, the use case, the adoption, all of that will trigger more speculation, but the immediate cut to the supply is what drives those supply and demand economics, in my opinion. So it will be the catalyst.
Bro, if you could say catalyst, I mean, he is our chemistry aficionado.
He's our chemistry bro, literally. I'm looking for that.
There's a lot of stuff we don't know coming in. Like, I feel like the next few years are going to be really intense on a macroeconomic scale. And I have a theory that nation states are going to argue, and not just argue, but fight over what is going to be the value behind their dollars. Oil.
Oh, well, okay. So whoever just asked, asked if I just saw the CZ? I didn't see the Binance tweet. I just see CZ's tweet 29 minutes ago that said, Brian Armstrong just told me the numbers and the articles are wrong. Deleted the previous tweet. Let's work together to improve the transparency in the space. So now I really want to know what the deleted tweet said.
Transparency while I censor and delete.
Yeah, I just deleted it. So, I mean, I understand he probably tweeted out some wrong information and he's trying to, but yeah, guys, if you can tell us what that was, is CZ trying to crash Coinbase?
I think I'm in the CZ, Brian Armstrong.
Oof.
Well, you have CZ.
I was like, what? You're in their chat? You're in that group text? So he must have come out and said something about, like, it's very clear, and we didn't talk about this at the beginning, but they are, if you're on CoinMarketCap, they've added this to exchanges now to add this little check mark for any exchange that's done proof of reserves, which obviously makes them look really good. The U.S. one, none of the U.S. ones, including Binance U.S., hasn't done it yet. So it makes me believe there's something regulatory or disclosure-wise that there's a reason they haven't done any of this. You see a lot of the Asian ones came out and did it very quickly, or Eastern ones, I guess I should say. KuCoin, Bitfinex, Bybit, OKX. I know, where are they? BitGet is on here. They are working on it as well. But I mean, it is cool. It's a cool feature. You click on this, you can see, that you see their total allocation. You can see their assets, so it's very, it is a cool feature, but of course it makes them look the best. They own CoinMarketCap. They're going to, and guess what? Who has the number one score? Them at a 9.9.
Absolutely.
Who's number two? 8.4, 7, and it just goes down from there. So, take it with a grain of salt. I do believe everything that they're doing is positive for the space, or or at least everything that I'm aware of is positives for the space. So, CZ trying to crash Coinbase. Kraken was auditing before it was cool. That is true. Wasn't Kraken one of the first ones to do it? They were. See, that's where we're getting some confusion. They were the first ones to come out and post claim, here's wallets with billions of dollars in it. Like here you go. Look, guys, these are our wallets.
Is that the Sir Sean Connery?
The Sir Sean Connery? Where?
Us?
I didn't see.
Ooh.
Oh, I didn't see it.
But Jesse Powell did come out pretty quick with that.
He did.
Yeah.
So that's where I was going is Merkle tree proof of reserves is a very specific way that they're referring to this. And that's different than just regular proof of reserves. Right. So a lot of exchanges have come out and shared reserves, shown liquidity, but we haven't come to an agreement on like, hey, this is the way we're all going to do it across the board the exact same way, which is I think what CZ is pushing for. So
how long ago did they come out with that tab?
Today. They pushed it out today. Yeah.
Because it was fun. I think it was 2 weeks ago I tweeted out like all exchanges should have a tab on their exchange that has in plain sight everything that they hold.
Yeah.
Well, you were in their group chat then, huh?
Yeah. They listen to me. Yeah.
Thanks,
Insider.
Taco. We appreciate you moving. You're moving the whole space forward for all of us. So we really
Here for you
appreciate
guys.
that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So I'm going to move through the rest of this real quick just so we can get through it before we have, run out of time. This was the last kind of chart thing I had talking about coin, the Coinbase stock specifically. And I know this is another thing a lot of big macro traders have been looking at. It's odd, but I'd actually prefer to long coin instead of the majority of alts. It's down 90%. It's through kind of the worst earnings period we know they're going to hit, as far as most likely they could have maybe worse earnings next year than this year, but we know 24 and 25 should be strong years. It's pretty much washed out any of the retail market. The Kathy Wood just went in heavy on it, and a handful of other people. And so like, if you're looking for an alt, we know Coinbase is a strong earner. It doesn't help that CZ's out there saying they don't have the reserves, but maybe he's trying to push the price down, get a little bit of a better entry himself. Who knows?
So I think I might have said this maybe on BitBoy's channel before on ATB. See that first candle there, the highest it's ever been? I bought that candle.
This guy here?
Hey,
You're talking about the launch.
I literally bought it at like $400.
We did too. We bought some at like 300, 350.
But you see the last candle on the chart? I also bought that
Hey,
candle.
see? So
that
All
means
about DCA.
you're landing
Did you
somewhere
spend the
in
same
middle.
amount both times, or did you spend more the second time?
Same amount.
Same amount. So that means
somewhere-
there's blended entries somewhere around here.
Yep.
Not too bad.
Little DCA
But
magic.
look, that's a little trick for you guys to remember. Look, if you bought, let's say you bought it $300, you bought one share up here, or say 400, and then you bought $400 down here, you're going to get a much better blended entry because you're going to get so many more shares here. You're going to be somewhere in the middle. You're going to be like 200,
Wait, so
really
you did
200.
watch the SBF video?
What?
You're talking about a blended entry. Never mind.
No.
God, I hate myself.
Yeah.
Definitely did not watch that.
Well, good for you,
video.
Taco. I hope that price recovers and you you do well with that.
Thank you.
Because it's an interesting one. It's one of the first, obviously, major crypto. There's other, Silvergate Bank, another one I referenced, has also been hammered in this one. Might be a stock worth looking at. Again, I don't hold any of these, just so you guys know. I'm not a stock person really. But when you're looking at, I do think Kraken was supposed to come out in IPO. That might be another opportunity if they IPO in a bear market. Keep an eye on that one as well. So, what do you think? You guys like coin, like stock? Do you want to hold a crypto centric stock, or do you just stay in crypto in general?
You know what I wish I did is invested in the mining stocks.
Yeah.
Way back, because those I think even outperformed Bitcoin. So
Yeah.
but like TJ, I think literally coin is my only stock I own. The
Okay.
rest is crypto.
I refuse to touch stocks.
Why is that?
Absolutely. Well, I
Like
feel
what
like
Smokey said.
I
Yeah.
feel
Wait
like
8
there's
years to double up.
I feel like it's just there's a lot of overvalued skeleton elephants in the room that are walking dead animals that are, I look at a lot of these tech firms that can obviously operate with the skeleton crew at the same bandwidth as they used to have thousands of employees operating at. I feel like there is a large overvaluation of the big five in the stock market. So that's why I prefer crypto instead, to try to get involved with projects that are in the beginning phase and not these behemoths of what once was.
Yeah, somebody mentioned I was thinking about buying CleanSpark, GBTC, MicroStrategy, or some of the other ones. Riot Blockchain. I know isn't Marathon Digital Holdings? Is that a stock or is that just a hedge fund? That might just be a hedge fund.
I think it might be a stock. I don't know.
Nvidia is one I was looking at too because of the chip manufacturing and AI. They did really well early. You know, I talked about Nvidia in 2018 and 2019. They did well through 2020 and 2021. I think they've been hammered recently.
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
hindsight is 2020 stocks will most likely go away in a couple of decades. Yeah, I tend to agree. I tend to lean all crypto, right? There's a lot more opportunity in crypto. There's a lot more volatility in crypto. There's a lot more. It's a smaller market. It gives you guys, you know, gives us more of an opportunity where you're not just, you know, in the stock market. We're not even minnows. We're barely even, you know, we're plankton. We're barely freaking registering in that ocean where at least in crypto, you know, the whole market cap is $500 billion or less, $300 billion or something like that. I mean, we can actually, you know, you have some space in there to operate, and we actually have an advantage. You start getting into traditional markets, you've had, you know, there's quant funds, and you're fighting against computers and algorithms and stuff that have been at this for years. So, not saying that doesn't get applied to crypto, but I just feel like you have a better market advantage in crypto right now.
In my opinion, that's really bullish for crypto too. If we're at a less than $1 trillion market cap, and it is so in the news and so in the minds of the regulators, like it's one of those things. If it's irrelevant in such a small market cap, that
they wouldn't be talking about it.
Doesn't line up exactly. Whereas like they know it's going somewhere.
Totally, 100%.
Like TJ says, like look at what they say, or what's the saying?
Look at what they do, know what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to FUD it all day long, and they're over here buying stuff, you know, and then they're going to get the regulation in place, and then the prices are going to go up. And then at the top, next top is when they're going to be running all those articles like, oh, buy. Everybody go in all now. You know, like right now they're telling you nobody spend any money, nobody invest in anything, save every penny, and, you know, eat, you know,
bug bars.
I was going to say crickets. I couldn't think of anything other than crickets, but no, freaking cup of noodle. That's what I was trying to think. Ramen.
Crickets Nina brought were actually pretty good.
Yeah, well,
that's true.
Cuppo crickets.
Cuppo crickets. Yeah, maybe that's a new thing.
Coming
so
soon.
is the basement under siege? I don't know.
No.
You
guys, I got to get a speaker, but they're spamming the FBI meme sound.
Okay.
Oh,
I was
knocking on
watching the
door.
stream one day, and that happened, and it scared the crap out of me.
That's hilarious. So real quick, we're going to talk about a couple things for next cycle, and I want to kind of hear from you guys what you think will be the narrative main driver. You know, like we were just talking next cycle here.
That first one's so wrong.
Yeah, well, that's what he's Moon Overlord saying for the next cycle. Some of the narratives that will be driving thing: ETH staking, gaming. Well, I don't know. I think ETH staking could be very attractive to big money if you're getting rewards on your Ethereum for just sitting it there. It could potentially start to compete with bonds. Obviously, that's a huge 4%? Claim, but yeah, I mean, hey, if you got enough money, you don't need a big APY.
That is true.
Gaming. NFTs, again, digital collectibles, I guess, and sports betting, which that was an interesting, I could totally see sports betting getting a lot more involved. And you could even throw, you know, kind of hybrid of gaming and sports betting is, I could see online poker making a comeback. But outside of, or maybe not outside of these, you can use these or use your own. What do you guys think are going to be some of the main bullish narratives moving into the next bull cycle?
Ooh,
guys, we're a long way away. I'm just trying to give us something to not scare everybody. This is probably enough. We're a year away from this.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of application to the metaverse in military training and blockchain and encrypted communications of war systems. I think that's where a big chunk of it, not all of it, obviously, but I think that there's going to be a lot of use case that we'll see rubber hit the road over the next 4 to 5 years.
You think that's a narrative they're going to push, though?
Not maybe more the narrative of the training portion to begin with, not necessarily the.
You changed though.
Well, I agree with you on that sense. It's some kind of training, but I think more schooling and like medical training and certain scientific training.
Absolutely.
Not that you're wrong with medical. I definitely think you are too.
Or military.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm gonna have to go with gaming.
Gaming.
Narrative gaming. It's going to just take one amazing game that has a lot of
GTA 6.
And maybe if they integrate a way that crypto is integrated and you can then take out your crypto and swap it for cash. If they could do it in a way that's not just sell pressure on their token, It's yet to be done, but I
Mhm.
feel like that'll be a big narrative if a game can actually figure that out, the tokenomics.
Like, what if Pokemon Go came out tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, you catch the Charizard, you
Right.
could sell it to your friend.
They're already getting $5 a month from me as it is to keep respect from my daughter on the next Pokemon I caught today. So I could definitely see that. Absolutely.
I think gaming does have the strongest potential, like play to earn smartphone games, or what somebody was saying in the chat. Sports betting is big on crypto
Singularity Net
predictions.
and AI.
Yeah, AI stuff. Trying to think what I think the number. I could see it being gaming. I could see it being kind of a hybrid of not necessarily it's play to earn, basically NFTs and social creation, if that makes sense. Of like, we're starting to see all these mainstream platforms trying to integrate ways for creators to earn and all that sort of stuff. So I could see like creator earn programs mixed with gaming being a really, really big catalyst, because it's something I've been thinking about recently. I think, when did Patreon come out? Like 2015? Does anybody know?
Oh, I think it was, I want to say 2016, but I am not
Really? That
100%.
I
recent?
want to change my answer.
Okay, so it was founded in 2013, but it didn't really start, as far as I know, getting a lot of traction until a little bit later. And until it didn't really get onto the radar of the major YouTubes and Facebook and some of those other ones, until they started to realize like, oh, we're losing people to this basically a third party system that's allowing for, a gated premium content access type of a system. We need to start building this into our own product. So we're now seeing it built into Twitter. It's built into Instagram. It's getting built into Meta. Now it's going to take a long time for people to get used to using those. It's going to take probably a year or two to really, people to understand them, people to come up with creative ways to implement them. But I could see that the combination of NFTs on mainstream social platforms and the, play to earn games, I could see the combination of those two things really be what kicks off this next cycle. I agree with everything you guys said as well. Training, I think, could be a big one. What do you got?
So I'm gonna change my answer, and it has to do with crypto Thorn. Twitter is bringing in blockchain. So Elon Musk, he's hinted at this X app or something called X that's like has everything almost similar to WeChat in China. I feel like if he can do that right, he can implement games. You can go on cruises. You can schedule a flight, and it's all like Web3 based. You own your wallet. That'll onboard a lot of people. Everything's all in one place. Maybe monetize Twitter with the X app. Maybe just combine it. Maybe it's the same thing. And all of it together is just going to create a world of like Web3 integration into everything. And this is the easiest spot to do it.
Yeah. It's almost like I was reading you guys' mind. Pull this up for just a second. We won't go into this today because
pull it up.
we ran out of time. We could probably do a whole episode on just this thread. Huge shout out to NFT God. If none of you guys follow him on Twitter, I would recommend it. He does a lot of really good threads. But here we go. This whole thread is a breakdown of new Twitter and how it could be used to do exactly what you were just talking about, Taco. So I will save this. Maybe we get into this tomorrow. Is what does new Twitter look like? Twitter X, I'll call it.
Yep.
I will get. And then we'll wrap it up today. I did have one little nugget for you guys, but we're running out of time. But Sui blockchain, something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Sui.
Sui generis.
Sui. It came out of the Diem project. It's closely linked to Aptos, so we're gonna look at both of those as well. Both of those born from Diem and kind of split, went two different directions. I think could potentially be ones to watch for the next cycle. It seems to be getting a lot of attention because of the move-based programming language that Meta and Facebook has made so popular. So we will talk about those maybe tomorrow. But real quick, I will wrap up with this from Chris Berniski. Easy to become depressed in this market environment. For those that have forgotten what bull feels like, things are not always down only. Being grateful for the units you're stacking now creates character to keep you sane in the next bull run. You look back on these times in awe. And he's quote tweeting himself when, at the top of the bull market. Easy to become entitled in this market. For those of you who haven't seen a bear market yet, things are not always so free flowing. Being grateful for things you're getting now creates goodwill to carry on. So I think in light of the week we're having right now, I think one thing that was interesting is being grateful was the key in the bull market. and being grateful is the key in the bear market. So always be grateful for what you have. Don't get too caught up in the charts, too caught up in, your next 2x, your next 5x, or anything like that. Just be grateful for what you have. Stay grateful, because like, how awesome is this? We get to hang out in a basement and talk about crypto with our friends. Like, maybe the world sounds crazy. Maybe all of this stuff is scary that's going on out there, but we've got really good people around us. And so just keep your positioning and your mindset in that direction. And at least in my experience, it's bode very well for me over time. So lot to be grateful for. I know it's not even Thanksgiving yet. I'm just already in that mindset. So we love you guys. Do we have a raid today? Do we have anybody to raid?
Yol or somebody?
Yeah, if they're on, let's raid them.
Set up. All right, well, we have to say bye.
We have to say bye. When Basement Discord? It's in the works, probably next week. I've already got, we already have a Discord and we just don't really push it yet, but I will make a basement chat in there. Thank you for reminding me, Riddle with puns.
Thank you for being here with us.
Yes.
Thank you, Twitch.
Bye.
That was fun.
Oh, God, no.